Hello. So, just wanted to share this. I didn't expect really anybody to get on the live. I just was making a recording. The Lord was sharing something with me earlier, and I thought it was just the mechanics behind it were pretty profound. Just thinking about it. Earlier, some verses that came to mind. I was thinking about a few things, and one of them I brought it up was Luke 22:31. Where Jesus said, "Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has demanded permission to sift you like wheat, but I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail, and you, when once you have turned again, strengthen your brothers." And the crazy thing, he said demanded permission, which when you go to what the word really means, it means obtained by asking, right? Obtained permission. So he had to get permission even to to go after Peter, right? So something that I've noticed, and it's funny when this happens, when you start noticing that life events, the life you're living, actually play out biblically, and you can see why the Bible says what it says. James, I think it's James 2:13 says mercy. It says more than that, but what I'm gleaning from it is mercy triumphs over justice. And I've seen where people will start saying something out of their mouth, and what'll happen over time, not too much further from that time, is things will just get a little crazy for them, right? They'll say something, maybe someone's cheating on someone and they noticed it, so they start talking about it. Next thing you know, they're cheating. Maybe someone's doing something they shouldn't be doing. Maybe someone's a slanderer or a gossip, and someone's gossiping about the gossiper. Well, in that time, they're gossiping right there, but then you'll start noticing that they just gossip all the time. Maybe they didn't before, right? What was occurring to me was there's a grace that's on us, right? I don't even know how strong I am, as far as in my own strength. Because God's helping me, right? It says in, Philippians 2:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And of course, there's, in context, there's a lot to that. But what I'm saying is, there's things that the Lord has helped me get past. Things I used to do, which are considered in the word sin, right? And they're sinful. And I was able to put that behind me by the grace of God. Now, the thing is, it's not that I'm all of a sudden so strong. It's that God's grace is on me. His power is on me to help me, not do that, right? So what happens is when I open my mouth and I judge somebody, then what happens is that what I'm doing basically is, imagine these cables that are holding me up, that are grace, right? Power, God's power. So I'm basically severing that cable every time I go out and I say something, because if I bring judgment on something, well, then it has to be judged in me too, right? So if I'm going to talk about the weight problem that Billy has, well, then guess what? Any grace or power that was on me is now that's kind of taken away, right? Satan has these, it's almost like the enemy has these legal rights. When you do something, he has to get permission like he did with Peter. But once you do something, you sever the grace. And once that grace is severed, I'm trying to be careful the way I word this, because I got to be careful in situations. I don't want to oust anybody or, hurt anybody. But there's been times going way back in my past when one of my close friends would say something, and then I started noticing all hell would break loose in their home and in everything else on those very same topics. And the funny thing is, I never really thought about that too much, I just figured, you got to be careful what you say. But it really, as I was thinking about it today, as the Lord was giving me, just giving me some wisdom about it, when you say something, you really are taking away any strength or power that you're getting from God in that situation. It's almost like legally it has to be severed from you, because now that grace, has to be severed from you because you've taken it upon yourself and you basically told God, I don't need your help. I'm making judgment on this. Well, whatever you judge, again, has to be judged in you. It was just interesting, some of the concepts that were coming to mind. Say you're going through some turmoil in your life. Say you're not living according to the word. Every one of us is going through stuff, right? Well, if I decide I'm going to sit there and I'm going to bring your stuff up, especially gossip, and I'm not coming to you with it out of love to correct you, which it might not even be my place to correct you. Maybe it's my place to pray for you, right? A lot of people get that twisted too. But if something comes up and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to talk about it, well, then what happens is, now that I've said all that, now that that's come out of my mouth, now there has to be almost a judgment against me for the same thing. And it's great. It's not great doing that regardless, but I'm saying if I can handle it on my own and I don't need God's strength, well, then maybe I'll be fine, right? But if there's grace from God that's keeping me from doing whatever I'm doing, then what's going to happen is that grace is going to be lifted. And then generally I'm going to wind up doing the same thing. Remember Jimmy Swaggart? I forgot. I'm younger than that generation. I was alive, but I was a young kid. But he decided he was going to gossip about another pastor who was being sexually immoral. And then what happened? Right after that, bam, there he is getting caught with in prostitution and everything else, right? So I'm just saying, anything you say, be careful. Be careful with your words, because everything you say, every judgment you make, it comes back on you. Now, something really profound that stuck out to me was in John 9. This is mainly what I'm wanting to talk about is, I think it's John 39, right? And it starts off there, but just to give I'll start off in 30. The man answered and said to them, well, here's an amazing thing, that you do not know where he is from, and yet he opened my eyes. This is when Jesus healed that man's eyes that had been blind all his life. And the Pharisee said, we know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is God-fearing and does his will, he hears him. I'm sorry, I guess that was the blind man that was, or he wasn't blind anymore, but the man that was healed. We know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is God-fearing and does his will, he hears him. Since the beginning of time, it has never been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing. They answered him, you were born entirely in sin, and you are teaching us? So they put him out. Jesus heard that they had put him out, and finding him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him? Jesus said to him, you have both seen him, and he is the one who is talking with you. And he said, Lord, I believe, and he worshipped him. And Jesus said, for judgment I came into this world, so that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may become blind. And that statement right there, and Jesus said, for judgment I came into this world, so that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may become blind. Those of the Pharisees who were with him heard these things and said to him, we are not blind too, are we? Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains. Jesus just said, if you were blind, you would have no sin. And what did he say before that? He said, for judgment I came into this world, so that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may become blind. He just basically said, those who are of justice, those who are of judgment, those who are in sin, he came to make blind, which means take their sin away, right? In the context in which he's placing that. As soon as the Pharisees opened their mouth, like I'm referencing here, as soon as they made that judgment, we are not blind too, are we? Boom, that grace was lifted. As soon as they said that, as soon as they spoke death out of their mouth, they basically, in their arrogance, we're not blind. Basically, they're saying we're not blind. He's like, and Jesus is saying, well, if you were blind, you'd have no sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains. And that was on them. And again, that's why mercy triumphs justice. That's why it's so important not to judge people, not to lay judgment down on people. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying we don't thoroughly, read the word and get our understanding from it. Like Hebrews 4:12 says, the word of God is sharper than any double-edged sword. What does it say? Able to cut between the bone and marrow, judge the hearts and intentions of men. Yeah, we are able to discern with the word, right? But that's not what I'm getting at. I don't need to focus on your sin. I don't need to focus on someone else's things they got going on, unless it's to pray for you. Unless you're real close to me in relationship and the Lord's telling me, maybe He'll have me come have a word with you. And usually that doesn't even work that way. Generally what I do is I'll pray, Lord, let them approach me regarding a conversation, regarding a topic, if you want me to correct them. And if it's for me, then God will bring them my way and they'll be asking me questions and I'll give them what the Lord gave me. And then that's straight, there's no arguing or anything like that. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. It's already 11 minutes in this video, but I just wanted to bring up what the Lord was really showing me today about judgment and how important it is not to, just to have mercy, let the Lord do what He's doing. Philippians 1:6 says, I will complete the work in which I started. Oftentimes we're sitting there and we're looking at an incomplete work and we're already making our judgments. We've already decided everything we need about that person. And that's not the way it is. We just need to stay in our lane and let the Lord do what He's going to do. And, just be merciful and pray for people. That's the way I see it. That's the way I feel. So love y'all. God bless. And thanks.